Hi, everybody. Um, I'm back on again here after maybe a 2-week absence, but I'm sure most of you know where I'm standing, which is inside of the old gymnasium behind me, and I'll give you a quick little tour with the video. Is the new library on the first floor, and then above it, the new technology room on the second floor. So I apologize for the lighting, it's a little bit of a glare. It's about 95 degrees in here, so I will try to get out of here as fast as I can for my own sake. But I thought I would touch base. Obviously, if you're a parent, if you're a staff member, if you're a community member, you're hearing a lot of information about education. So today we got a little bit more, or a lot more I should say, from the governor. I would say some definitive information that we got the green light to start. So I'm going to read you what I think is a summary of today's announcements and where we are at the present moment, where we hope to be on Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have our reopening task force committee is going to reconvene to take a look at the reopening plan that we filed with the state, that we have on the website, and see if we can comply with the governor's guidance on how to break that plan out and post it and communicate it better. So I'll go through that in a little bit. But I just want to acknowledge a few things here. I know many of you are very concerned with coming back to school in September, especially on the September 8th, which is a Tuesday, for the first superintendent's conference day, or perhaps more importantly on Thursday, September 10th, with the students. So I sent that email about 2 weeks ago. Many of you responded to it, and I appreciate that. We are doing everything we possibly can to keep the lines of communication open, to maintain a dialogue with you, and to try to evaluate going forward how we are going to approach this, all right? But the bottom line I just want to say is this. We filed the plan, we created a plan with a committee of staff. Members of the community were on that committee, parents are on that committee, board members were on the committee, and we came up with what we feel is the best plan for our students, the best plan so far for staff, and that's what we're going to roll with. Now that plan is fluid. It can change, all right, just to a certain extent, but the plan is not going to work if a certain percentage of the staff are not comfortable coming back to work, all right? So what I'm going to try to clarify in an email this coming week is how we are going to continue that dialogue with each one of you to address your personal and your professional concerns, right? And just to give you a little snapshot of what that's going to be about, according to the guidance, all right, staff, and this could even apply to students. I haven't really addressed that yet, but as it applies to staff, concerns are going to fall into 3 categories. Number 1, all right, which is really a federal category, is whether you have a disability, all right, that falls under the American Disabilities Act. So that's the primary question we're going to be asking everyone is, do you have a disability? And if you do, to provide us documentation thereof. And we'll give you a list of those disabilities that qualify. If you do not have a disability, all right, you're going to fall into, or you could possibly fall into the second category, which is you have a vulnerability to the COVID virus, all right? And once again, we will clarify what a vulnerability is. If you do not have a vulnerability, you would fall into the third category, which is really an uncomfortability, if that's even a proper terminology, proper word, all right? And we will define as best we can that category, all right? For the most part, we're gonna open up a dialogue with anyone who falls into one of those three categories. We're going to talk about accommodations that are possible. And the key word that I'm hearing, all right, when we talk about accommodations is an undue financial hardship on the district, okay? So that's a wide open term, all right? And we're going to have to talk about it because obviously if someone cannot come back to work and we would have to hire a leave replacement, this is just an example, okay? And that leave replacement, let's say, goes for the entire school year. We could be looking at probably a $100,000 price tag for an instructional person if we have to hire a leave replacement in accordance with the Bridgehampton Teachers Association contract, which after X number of days of that person being a replacement for a particular teacher, benefits kick in, all right, and they also jump onto the salary schedule and all. So, you know, $100,000 just for one person, we're going to have to evaluate if that is a hardship, a financial hardship on the district. But I'm just giving you that as an example, okay? But we will have a dialogue, okay? So what I'd like to do right now is I'm just going to take that camera, flip it around, give you an idea of where we are. You're probably saying to yourself, with 34 calendar days to go, it doesn't look like this library or this technology room or the auditorium is going to be finished. And I would agree 110% with you. This will most likely not be done until November 1st. So we have quite a ways to go. It's also going to be a little bit of a logistical challenge because if we have staff and we have students here during the day, that means this work will have to go on, all right? We're going to have contractors here isolated in this room at nighttime, okay? So that, you know, we don't have another issue going on. But that's being addressed as well, and hopefully we can get this thing ready for November 1st, all right? So I'll flip the camera around, give you a quick tour. I want to wind up as best I can without stopping that camera inside the kindergarten room to give you an idea of how we've laid out that kindergarten classroom with the proper social distancing measures in there, okay? So here we go. All right, so this right now is the status of the old gymnasium, okay? If you can look straight ahead there in the camera, you can see that we actually broke through the wall to create another exit. There was some concern that if something would happen in here, we wanted enough doors so people could get out. All right, now you're looking at the really the second floor, the steel that's been put in place, okay? And then the library will be on the bottom and the technology room will be on the top. All right, there will be a wall that goes straight up, divides about a third of that skylight that's up there. Okay, so once again, a lot of work to be done. We have a separate crew coming in here shortly to remove the center of the court of the gym floor is the old B logo. So we're going to cut that out, and that is going to be framed or displayed inside of the new gymnasium when that is ready. Okay, so just give you a quick idea. All right, so let me see if I can walk and talk and chew gum at the same time here, all right? So as we leave, all right, I'll talk a little bit more about the reopening. Okay, I told you Wednesday, August 12th at 8 a.m., we're going to meet the reopening committee. We're going to talk more about the plan based on the information. Actually, I can't get out of here. Based on the information that we've received up to now, and then where we're going to go forward. So I got a little bit of a problem. I can't get out of this gym. So I'm going to keep walking until I can get out of here. All right. So you may want to, if you're not on that committee, you may want to follow it closely and hear, if there's any decisions that have been made, we will do our best to communicate that with you after that meeting, okay? So as I come down the hall here, I'm going to walk into the kindergarten. I've actually got my hands full with a lot of stuff, so as I try to get in here, see if I can make it work. Okay, so here we go. I apologize for that little delay, but we are in the room, and I want to give you an idea of what this is actually going to look like, okay? So let me see if I can get myself situated here quickly. All right, you can see what's going on here. So right now I'm inside the kindergarten classroom. All right. The administrative team, along with the custodial staff and the construction crew, we were able to get the kindergarten, the real kindergarten classroom. There will be 2 classrooms for the kindergarten as part of our reopening plan, but this is the original one. So we've got this room pretty much all cleaned up and ready for September, and we took some time to practice what the social distancing will look like here, all right? So I'm going to take that camera, I'm going to swing it around a little bit so you can see at this room right now with the desks 6 feet apart allows for 9 students to be in here. There is a possibility to put 3 more desks if we go all the way up against the back of the wall. But with the current kindergarten classroom split into 2, we should be able to keep it to less than 10 students in each classroom, okay? So flip it around quick, give you an idea of what it looks like. All right, so very important though, just so you know, this is the whole new heating system that was installed in there, okay? It actually provides fresh filtered air from the outside as well as within the classroom, okay? And this is what it's going to look like. All right, you're going to hear lots of different ideas from different school districts. Some districts are not necessarily doing this 6 feet the way we did it. There are different ideas that can actually maximize the number of desks inside of a classroom. You can actually remove the teacher's desk. You can remove any of these other tables that you see in the back, and you can really free up a classroom to probably allow up to 15 student desks. The one thing you don't have, you don't see that we have is we have a sample shield that's actually going to sit on each student's desk. I believe that shield is about 18 to 24 inches high. Okay, there is guidance out there that states if a student is sitting at a desk with a shield, they do not necessarily have to wear the facial covering. I believe our reopening plan calls for students and staff to wear the facial covering at all times. So, like I said, the reopening is fluid, and the reopening plan is fluid, and it can change if we need it to be. So that'll be discussed on Wednesday. All right, one other thing I want to talk to you about here. So is some health and safety, all right? Lots of concerns. And a lot of you are asking questions about, how are staff, how are students, how are parents, how are visitors going to be screened when they come in or they want to come into the buildings. So this device right here is one of the devices we are seriously considering using. It is a thermal imaging camera device, and if we decide to go with this, it should accomplish at least 3 things. So number 1, if you get within about 18 inches of this device, it will take your temperature. The other thing is it will tell if you are wearing a facial covering or not. And then for staff, we may be able to use this as the time and attendance device to replace the finger operated time clock. All right, so we are working to try to get 3 of these. One will be installed on the east side of the main building, one will be installed in the main front entrance vestibule, and we'll have a third one installed by the west entrance. So I think if we can get 3 of these set up, I've tested this myself. You stand in front of it. It takes about 2 seconds to read your temperature, determine if you have a face mask, and to actually clock you in. So if we can keep the line moving, it's usually very successful. The problem with this device, and maybe others, is if it's in direct sunlight, or if the temperature between the individual and the device is too hot, it'll give a false reading, and it will not give the green light for that particular person to gain entry. I did see this with our environmental consultant at their office. They actually have one of these wires here plugged in and programmed so that the door to the main building does not even open unless you successfully have your temperature read and it's below 100 degrees, and you are also wearing a face covering. So, 34 days to go before school opens. We're slowly getting there. We're trying to pick the best equipment, but one thing I haven't mentioned so far is money. All right, everything we're trying to do here has some price tag on it. These are about $1,200 each. So there's probably more of a cost to have these installed. If we put them outside, we've got to have outlets. They run off of Wi-Fi, so hopefully Mr. Sharp can help facilitate that. But 3 of these alone is $3,600. You may have heard from the reopening plan that we are talking about having up to 5 40-foot by 60-foot tents installed on the district property. They will each come with a nice hard floor. I don't believe at the moment they're slated to have sides, but we are intending to divide them up internally to make maybe 4 separate areas under each tent. That price tag for 2 months to rent 5 tents is upwards of $80,000. So there's a lot of requirements that come with getting those tents. It's all coming down from the state education department. Each one of those tents has to be inspected by a structural engineer. The fabric of the tent has to meet a specific fire code set forth by the state education department. So we are doing everything we can, and all of a sudden now the governor's apparently deferring to the local town to inspect those tents for an actual permit. So in the past, we've only had to deal with the fire marshal from the town of Southampton. Now we may even have to deal with the building inspector. So nothing is easy. But the other reason why I'm bringing this up is nothing is cheap. It all comes with a price tag. We're talking about hiring a school health aide to assist the nurse. All right, we will comply with civil service to hire that person who has the proper credentials. A 10-month school health aide making a minimum salary here with benefits could easily cost us upwards of $60,000. So these numbers start to add up real quick. And as I spoke before when I was in the auditorium, one staff member who is not able to come back to work, and if we have to find a leave replacement, you could easily be talking close to $100,000 with benefits and with proper following of a contract, $100,000. So we've got a lot of variables here that we're working with, but I want you to know we have your health and your safety in mind, and we also have that of the students. We have that of visitors who are coming here. We have a lot of concern from parents, so I'm sure everything will work out, as long as we can keep that dialogue open. Some of you have been asking, and I'm just gonna read you something from one of our health and safety consultant, Mr. Brian Graham. I just want you to want to address something, which is a concern that a lot of you have about being inside of a classroom or being inside of an office where someone either tests positive for COVID and maybe and may not be displaying any symptoms, or they actually have it. So I'm going to read you this, and it'll come out more in detail, but the bottom line here is the Department of Health, the New York State Department of Health, will be the lead agency in determining exposure, determining quarantine orders, and clearance letters for people to come back into this building, if that happens. Exposure is currently defined as 10 minutes within a 6 foot of a confined case without the personal protection equipment. So once again, exposure is currently defined as 10 minutes within 6 feet of someone who has a confirmed case and that there has been no personal protection equipment. As the Bridgehampton School District is enforcing face coverings at all times and encouraging social distancing, there should be little chance for exposure at the school. However, if a case is confirmed, the Department of Health Contact Tracing Office will work with the district to identify the risks. Anyone identified as potentially exposed will require a clearance letter from the Department of Health prior to return. Areas, such as a classroom or an office, that were potentially contaminated by the confirmed person will be closed for 24 hours or as long as feasible and cleaned and disinfected with the new deep cleaning protocol. Right? So I hope that clarifies a little bit and addresses some of the concerns that you may have. I don't believe it's going to address everyone's concern, but it's some information. So let me try to finish this up so I don't keep you too long. A lot of information, as you may have heard, it came out today with the governor. So I want to just let you know how I'm summarizing everything here as best I can, and to try to work with the administrative team. So Governor Cuomo held a conference earlier today to provide an update on the state's COVID-19 response. He announced his determination regarding the reopening of elementary and secondary schools statewide. As expected, he will authorize schools to open for in-person instruction. This authority can be rescinded if infection rates spike. The ultimate decision is up to the district. He reported that his office has been deluged with calls from parents and teachers with questions regarding testing, access to remote learning, and contact tracing if when a student or teacher is diagnosed. He spoke of school districts' submission of plans to the State Education Department and the Department of Health, and that schools must address these concerns specifically and maintain communication with students, families, and faculty. Many districts have not submitted plans to the Department of Health, apparently 127 as of today, and 50 of those submitted plans, okay, the remaining district that submitted plans, those plans were found to be deficient by the Department of Health. I received confirmation last Friday that our plan was submitted at the State Education Department level and the Department of Health. I have yet to receive anything back, so I believe our plan so far is sufficient, all right? By next week, schools must also separately post the following. The plan for remote learning. Schools must post remote learning plans, including how inequities in remote learning can be addressed. Plan for testing, that's COVID testing. How and when will the district test students and staff? This can be in partnership with the local health departments. Contact tracing. Schools must post their plans for how contact tracing will occur. These need not be a new plan, just pulled out of the existing plan for ease of location. Location meaning the posting on a website that the plan and these items are broken out separately, okay? In addition, all right, this is the last part. By August 21st, schools must offer at least 3 public discussions with parents and teachers. They can be held virtually or online, and 1 additional session for teachers specifically. Okay? You may hear the Big 5 school districts, Rochester, Buffalo. The Big 5 school districts must offer 5 parent discussions due to their size. We only have to do the 3 meetings, okay? So that pretty much sums up where we are today and with what we heard today. And I've said it several times in this video that our reopening committee will be meeting Wednesday, August 12th, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you will be hearing more information once we have that. So please know we are working here every day during the week, trying to work around this new construction. We got a lot of things going on in the new construction in the existing building. The custodial staff is working diligently to get every room ready. We always come through. We always have this place in tip-top shape by the time everyone is scheduled to come back for the reopening of school. We have many of our 12-month staff here in the district office, in the main building, also working diligently, ordering supplies, ordering materials, ordering these devices for this reopening plan. A lot of this we're doing by the seat of our pants, trying to figure it out. And of course we have the big, where does the money come from issue. So that's what we're doing, okay? As always, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to let me know. You can let one of the administrators know. You can let your union reps know. We have a very fluid dialogue going on here that we all seem to be able to communicate and address these. So I will be in touch. I'm hoping from Monday to open that dialogue about those of you who may have a disability. If you don't have a disability, those of you who are vulnerable to the COVID-19 virus, and then if you don't have a disability and you're not vulnerable, those of you who are uncomfortable. Some of you may feel, you already told me that, and I appreciate that, but I do have to follow what I feel is a fair, what I feel is a consistent, and what I feel is also a legal approach to each and every one of you. So that everyone is treated the same way, and that we engage in that proper dialogue in terms of accommodations, okay? So have a nice weekend, and you'll hear from us shortly.